Hey guys, what's up? Sup, pups? How's it going? Welcome to another show of the Power Up Podcast, a show dedicated to I don't know, just a cheap excuse to get people and hang out with them and nerd out about stuff. But more importantly, it was created to kind of talk about nostalgia, what we enjoy growing up currently, hopefully in the future, see what we can do to kind of recapture and rekindle that nostalgic and spirit of just in being entertained for the sake of entertainment's sakes, which I believe is on life support because the way the entertainment industry is going, it ain't good, in my opinion. But with us today is Lofti Pixels, which I hear has some spicy takes on a lot of stuff. But Lofty was kind enough to come on the show. So thanks a lot, Lofty, for
No
hanging out.
worries. What's going on, everybody? It's been a weird week. I'm
Oh
doing a lot
yeah.
of yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of freelance stuff. So I'm doing.
Mhm.
Um I'm trying to network with like all kinds of different people. So this week for me, I just started working with the Kino Corner. I keep telling people to
Mm,
go sub to this guy's channel, but he's a great YouTuber. So
nice.
just finished a video with him talking about horror movies and stuff. So yeah,
Awesome.
I've been having fun.
Nice. Horror movies. Like, are you like, I guess what kind of horror movies are you interested in per se? Like, I think for me with horror, I guess you could say you have your slasher and your gore based type movies. I like to lean more towards the psychological, uh,
Yes.
supernatural horror sort of thing. Is that something that you kind of lean, or are you more like
Um,
Friday the 13th or something like that?
I like challenging, edgy horror movies.
Hmm.
I it's hard. I don't have a genre that I really. I mean, I really like what's it called? Um, sci-fi horror. That's like my favorite genre. But I don't have a genre I don't like. Like even
Okay.
slasher movies. I'll watch slasher movies. They're not my favorite. They have to be good, but
Hmm.
I
Is
like
there like
sci-fi horror, like Alien,
yeah.
the Fly, stuff like that. The
Okay.
Thing.
Are do you find yourself still gravitating just towards like the films like back in the day as opposed to like what's currently coming out, or have you seen like a couple like good ones
I
recently that kind of capture that
Yeah,
for you the
I
spirit of
love
what you enjoy?
I love old horror movies, right?
Hmm.
I like it's interesting. I am obsessed with like the 70s and some of the 80s horror films. You know, like I said, Alien, the Fly, The Thing, David Cronenberg, David Lynch, stuff like that. You know, Psycho, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs. Well, that's the 90s, but there's a bunch of new good horror movies, guys. I like right now we're in this like renaissance of like new wave horror
Hmm.
that kind of fascinating if you pay attention. If you're a like if you actually pay attention, there's a lot of good horror movies coming out. And there's a lot of good young horror directors that are like up and coming that are over the next 10 or so years are going to put out some really big, important movies.
Okay.
Um, one of them would be, Jordan Peele, um, Robert Eggers, you know, the guy who did The Lighthouse, The Northman. That's not a horror movie, but
The Lighthouse, is
um,
that the one with Willem Dafoe?
yeah, Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson. Then he did The
Oh,
Witch.
okay. I
Um,
need yeah. I've been kind of out of the loop of when it comes to movies.
yeah,
Mostly
well,
due to
well,
crippling depression.
oh man. Well,
Depression
I
in the
feel
sense
you.
of just hating how everything's going
I
in
feel
that
you.
sense.
The issue is I get that and I do too, but there's like if you just have a guy who can recommend good stuff to you, there is a lot of stuff that's coming out that's really good that you kind of have to go out of your way to kind of find. Like Infinity Pool just came out recently, fantastic movie. David Cronenberg's son directed this. So David Cronenberg did The Fly, Videodrome, Scanners, a bunch of movies like, you know, in the 80s. and then his
Mhm.
son is doing movies now. But like I said, these movies are harder to find. Like they'll play in small art house theaters. They're not like
Oh, I get you.
pop
Yeah.
culture. Pop culture horror right now is really bad. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of like what the popular horror movies are these days. I kind of I tapped out of the James Wan universe, cinematic universe, like
Well,
Insidious, Annabelle, like the four Conjuring sequels. I'm just like that stuff to me is just not appealing.
I
Sadly, it's popular. But
I
yeah,
I
the
want
first
to say
Conjuring's great, but
The Conjuring.
yeah, the
Okay.
first one's good, but
Oh, the first one? Oh, okay. Like, I wanna say the last horror movie I honestly watched, and probably, like, the actual series was probably Paranormal Activity, because
oh wow,
I like, I like the more religious supernatural elements of that stuff too,
yeah,
and when you're dealing with demons and stuff like that, that's
yep,
something I take kind of seriously just because of my faith and stuff like that, but I was
yep,
kind of it was definitely one of those things where as you continue down the series, it was kind of getting a little
oh yeah,
more
yep,
extreme,
just cookie
like
cutter
yeah,
and a little
cookie
bit,
cutter
little bit
sort of
too
thing.
trying to one up the previous movie and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's man, like I feel there's a way that you can do it, but like Hollywood just doesn't I think they just don't want to, obviously.
Yeah.
Um Hey Ryan the editor, what's up, buddy? Oh, Lofty, on your end, I think you should be able to pull up like click there should be an option that says chat and you can open it up and see like
Oh, I
people.
see. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, you
buddy.
should be able to finesse around anything like that and probably even screen share and I can share stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Um but yeah, like and I think that's just something where it's what is it? Bill Murray's talked about it where it's like it's hard to keep doing sequels cuz you're not going to top like
Yes.
the original sort of thing. Like everyone goes to the example of obviously the Terminator. I've seen 1 and 2, 3, but excluding 3 and beyond, like 2 is obviously for me better than 1, and I'm not just talking about like the effects too. Like I liked the story in general
Uh-huh. Yeah.
more.
I mean,
Mhm.
the sequels um are rare, but some of them are really good. Like Aliens is a great example. Terminator 2 is a great example.
Mhm.
Um usually I'm not a fan. I like original horror movies that like kind of wrap up, tell a story, a complete story, and then,
Mhm. Just like
that's
a
kind of my preference, but
I think so too. Like just a nice self-contained, story. Like this
yep.
happened at some point and everything got resolved and that's the thing. But do you think like it obviously can be done, but do you think it's like something that could be consistent of or just is it
Like,
kind of like a lost hope sort of thing?
do you mean like sequels or just like
Like actually having a trilogy that like each one can stand on its own in the sense of like being good. I guess.
yeah,
But I
that's
guess being
just
good is an open-ended question sort of thing. So, I
yeah,
guess
when
like
you're
a
getting
formula
yeah.
that can show that like,
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
hey, Terminator 2 is good, like Terminator 1, but still be unique in its own way.
it's just very rare because a lot
Yeah.
when you have a good idea, the idea is good because it's a good idea, but then you're like, well, most of the time these movies are they make a sequel for the money, so it's like, well,
Mhm.
the idea is never going to be as good as the original because the whole reason why the original idea was good was because it works in a 2-hour movie. It's just like that. It's a perfect. I'm trying to think of an example like like any Jordan Peele movie, like Get Out or Nope or any M Night Shyamalan movie, right? Like Signs or The Sixth Sense. These are just really good, um, you know, standalone films that tell a complete story. And if you try to like stretch these out, it's never a good idea
Mhm.
unless you're doing um a longer narrative, and horror doesn't lend itself to that. That's not a good thing for horror.
Mhm. I get you.
Yeah.
Ryan's
I mean, it's
Ryan the
great.
editor.
It's
What?
great for like like space opera stuff or fantasy stuff. You could do, a sequel or a series of stuff or a TV show.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Ryan says, "I'm at the point where sequels and remakes are insufferable. Are insufferable. I'm
Yeah.
I'm definitely at that point, especially with video games. Like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
the only remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, that I think was truly successful and did convince me to rebuy it, even though I do own it, was Shadow of the Colossus.
I agree. That's a masterpiece. That's a
That was a
perfect
yeah,
remake.
yeah, that was a masterpiece, and I think an ideal concept of what a remake should be. I will also say I do
Yes.
like the Resident Evil, for sure too, like remake. I do
Yep.
like that. I think it's different in its own way because I know some people would like to go back to what Resident Evil like 1 and 2. Um, I mean, me personally, fix the tank controls, but still have that setup as opposed to the more
Oh yeah, the isometric stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Which is weird because certain games I like the isometric and other ones I don't, but that's like 16-bit era sort of thing.
Yep. Yep.
But I still would love to see that, like also with like Link's Awakening, for example. I did enjoy the style of the
Uh-huh.
remake of
Yeah.
it, but like Breath of the Wild 2 and stuff like I'll be like, man, give me like go back to um literally like Link's Awakening. Go back to like Link to the Past, sort of over the head sort of stuff with today's graphics. I guarantee you it would sell because that's
Well,
what
I
a lot
say
of
the same
people
thing
want.
about Pokemon. Like people want
Hmm.
the Breath of the Wild open world stuff, and I get it. I do too. But I would straight up totally play an old school. I think the traditional formula for Pokemon is it's just unparalleled. I think it'll never get old for me. I can go back and play Heart Gold forever. And same thing with Zelda. But
Yeah.
what I think these companies should be doing is like splitting, like doing like a branching thing where they make their Breath of the Wilds, and then they also, because remember when they were making Twilight Princess and they were also making Phantom Hourglass on the 3DS?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, why can't we be doing more of that stuff? Like, why can't we have on the Switch like a Pokemon game that's like Black and White or
Hmm.
X and Y, and then the Breath of the Wild stuff. I mean, the Switch it's not very good with open world stuff, but
Yeah, I'm currently trying to get through the Link to the Past series, like the timelines and Pokemon as well. I think the last Pokemon game I played, I'm just trying to go in order because I grew up with like Red and Blue, but then didn't continue. I stopped, so I'm experiencing a lot of what people grew up with for the first time. And I think
yep.
the last one I played was like Black 2 or White 2. I
Uh-huh.
think I did Black first, and then I did White 2 the
Yep.
first time. So, but I do agree with you with that. Like, you'd think it'd be just as simple as like kind of splitting it off and then trying to appease the people who like maybe that sort of gaming style, as opposed to people who are like, why can't you just go back and do what you know what was successful, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Ryan also said a lot of time things are made as one and dones, but profits drive unnecessary sequels. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, I think, and
Or
also,
fans demand it.
mhm.
It depends. Um,
I also think it depends too. Like, I guess if we go back to movies, like producers as well, sort of thing, because I think producers get in the way. Like, one of the things that I kind of looked into.
oops. Every time I type, I'm DMing somebody in the background here. Every time I type fuck, how do I get rid of this? Every time I type a number on my number pad, my face changes. Anyway, sorry.
No, I thought you were clapping for what I was saying because you did clap.
It just happened. It was a coincidence.
No, no. Oh man. No, no, that's all good. But like one of the things what I was getting back on is kind of when I did when you saw the previews of and I don't even know what's happening with the show. I guess it's still happening. That live action Yu Yu Hakusho for
Oh
Netflix.
yeah.
Like,
Didn't watch it.
I don't think has it come out yet?
Um,
I've been keeping
I
an
don't
eye on
know.
it. I have seen nothing except what it
Oh,
looks like.
Inuyasha?
Did I say
Like,
Yu Yu Hakusho
oh,
or
yeah.
Hakushu?
That's.
I guess.
I think that's still in development. Same with One Piece.
Oh, okay, yeah. What? Well, like, because I was reading, because what I was getting at is I was reading an article, and then at some point the article literally says like the creator was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to capture the producer's vision," and I'm like, "Well, there goes that because if their vision is garbage, they have the final say in it because we're paying for it," and it's like that that can also get in the way of like making good content per se because if you have someone that says, "Yeah, I'll fund the movie for you, but you got to make sure that this particular message or what have you uh gets put into the show," sort of thing, then it's like, well, then you're not really caring about the heart of the show
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've given up on every anime adaptation. I've kind of given up on
Mm.
video game adaptations are interesting right now because we have Last of Us and Mario, which seem to be
Yeah,
tapping into some kind of global, everybody likes it, but
the Mario one I can kind of see. The Last of Us,
yeah.
it's kind of revealing what I just assumed it was going to do at some point,
Right. Yeah.
sort of
I mean,
thing.
if you liked the game, I mean, it's a pretty much a good adaptation of the game's aesthetic and most of the story. They are bouncing around in a weird linear
But
timeline,
I've heard
but
something that I wouldn't even watch it if I was a big Last of Us fans. Like, I'm going to be the first one to tell you right now, I'm not those. I disagree with the people who say it's a masterpiece. It's not. The Last of Us game was first
yeah,
one
it's
was
okay.
it's okay. It was good. Two was hot garbage. Um, and you knew it was going to happen. I have a whole theory with The Last of Us sort of thing, but before going down that road at some point, like because you've watched it, I
Right.
believe, Lofty. Yeah. So one of the things that I did enjoy about The Last of Us that I thought I heard that isn't really being carried into the live action is the whole to kind of separate itself from your stereotypical undead coming back to life zombie sort of thing, trying to avoid the Walking Dead and stuff, is The Last of Us was more based on a fungus and a bacteria sort of thing. Is that
Yeah.
not in the live action, at least
Oh,
in
it
the
is.
game?
Yeah, it is. It's still a fungus. It's
Oh,
just
is
they
it?
don't have.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
they scrapped that thing. I'm like, well, then it's not The Last of Us. You're just making a
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah, I heard that too, and then people over exaggerated that because that's what Twitter tends to do. They just don't have spores. They infect the fungus spreads a different way. It's just like a different way of infecting people, but it's still a fungus that attaches to your brain and makes you. It's the same
Mm.
thing as the game.
Oh, but the
Yeah,
spore element would have been dope.
I know, but I think I kind of agree, but at the same time, they had this thing where they didn't want to have everybody in gas masks the whole time. On screen, and it's like I think a lot of the game you were in a gas mask or something. I can't remember how they avoided the spores.
Mm, in the second one, they did it at some points, but obviously you're playing as Ellie, who
Yeah.
is immune, so you're not wearing them. In the first one, hardly anyone. Like
Oh,
in the first
I
one,
can't remember.
there were specific points where, like, there's an enemy right there, and you could go and kill him to make sure he doesn't follow you or something. But if you did, you would die because there were spores everywhere, and you could visibly see it. So you just had to
Right.
maneuver around it. I don't know. I call bullshit on that one. I think
Yeah.
you could have find a way to keep the spore element.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forget that the game. The game is forgettable to me because the stealth combat action is very bad, or not bad, but just like generic.
It was okay.
And the
Like,
story, I mean, it's good, but Uncharted has much better action combat
oh, I
than The
just
Last of Us.
finished Uncharted, the Uncharted
Yeah.
series. Ugh.
Except that, yeah, parts of the Uncharted narrative gets
Oh,
ridiculous.
I honestly got tired of Drake's his it's one of his traits that I think that you could think of who Nathan Drake is. But when you're running that like stumbling thing he does,
Yeah.
like I got over like I was getting so fucking tired of that stupid shit. I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, how are you tripping over something that's literally there's nothing there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think The Last of Us for me, I didn't like because of the combat. I liked it more so because of the setting, the
Mhm.
performances, the storytelling, stuff like that. I still think it's overrated. It's not like the best post-apocalypse story I've ever, experienced.
I'm the same way. I'm sorry. Like
It's a
I
good
don't
one. Yeah.
what's up?
It's a good story. It's just not my
It's a
favorite.
good story. Tons of problems with me personally with the part 2, but again, I
Yeah.
have a theory on that one. Chaos Smash. Hey dude, what's up? Says, excuse me. Hey, sorry I'm late. I had to blow off some steam off on Killing Floor 2. I needed to blow some steam off too, but I got home late. But I'm blowing some steam
Yeah,
off
what
now talking
Ryan
about
says, why
Lofty.
make a Last of Us series when it's already an extended movie? Yeah, like The Last of Us is basically a movie. I mean, the show kind of works because they do different. They It's not like exactly like the game, so you're gonna get a bunch of different. It's hard to describe, but like it's not a one-to-one adaptation, which I prefer because a one-to-one adaptation would just be boring. I'd be like, well, seen this before.
I'd
Yeah.
almost well, you actually brought that up in one of your shows and I made a comment about it.
Oh, right.
I would actually like to see something like that happen just to see what the response is.
Yeah.
Because I think some people legitimately would just be like, I think they would kind of push that aside of I've seen that before.
That's true. I mean, it might work for some people.
Yeah, that's the big thing is how much exactly would it like legitimately
Yeah,
what would the reception of it be? Like that I'm actually a little bit curious about that, but
yeah.
who knows it'll ever happen. Well, since we're on the topic of The Last of Us, I guess we can transition over into a bounding into comics article that is making its rounds. Kabam!
They're always making the rounds.
Indeed. So I've seen this. Apparently, well, according to this, it says The Last of Us director admits to tricking audience to push gay storylines and propaganda. I didn't really read the article per se, but I mean, obviously that headline is standing out, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a clickbait headline.
Is it? Did you?
It is.
I guess we can actually, since we have it open, see what they're talking about. So regarding the third episode of the series, whore. Is that really
I
whore?
guess.
Because I'm assuming it's because I think of bore, replace the
Yeah,
B
it
with
is
an H, whore.
horror.
Okay.
I guess.
Oh man. Whore was asked how he approached directing actors Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett throughout the episode. As part of his answer, Whore stated, sometimes you have to sort of trick the rest of the world into watching these things before they're like, oh my God, it was two guys. I just realized. I think then they might understand that it's all real. It's just the same love. Um,
Yeah, people took that as though they were being tricked into watching a gay love story, and I'm kind of calling bullshit on that because I mean, before this article came out, the
mhm.
narrative was if you tell people that it's a gay love story before it comes out, then you're pandering. Then suddenly this comes out, and now suddenly everyone's like, well, I wish you would have told me it was a gay love story before I watched it, then I wouldn't have watched it. So I just don't understand how you can flip-flop those two ideologies. I don't get it. To me, it's better if they don't say anything at all and you just watch it and it just happens to be a gay couple and it's normal and they don't virtue signal about how gay it is on Twitter before the to me, I thought that was a good thing, but now apparently it's a bad thing. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Um,
I don't get it.
the only I actually did read this article. For some reason, I thought I didn't read this, so it would be a first impression. But then I remembered the Pope, like they quoted something from the Pope, and I was like, oh man, he went ham
Oh,
on
the
that.
the, the article today quoted something from the Bible and some other pastor. Bounding into Comics is basically Christian Today, nerd version. They were always quoting scripture in their articles, and
Well,
I'm a Christian, but I don't like when they quote scripture and talk about sodomy. To me, that's like that shouldn't be in an article about a
yeah,
video
right
game
here.
adaptation. That's stupid.
Yeah, I'm a Christian as well. I'm actually I was raised Presbyterian, but I'm more non-denominational, and recently I'm actually becoming more of a just what the Bible says. Like, what does the
Yeah,
Bible say? And that's what I base my faith off of, sort of thing.
yeah.
Christian. Oh man, I recently had on the show Gary Wayne's the author of Genesis 6 conspiracy, and um,
But I mean, depicting lust and
why
sodomy
am I don't know why
is
I'm drawing a blank. What's up?
depicting lust and sodomy. And I mean, how often do you watch horror movies and violent movies and that depict murder and
See,
incest and all this other stuff?
that
I don't
actually
know.
ties into something that I just think that I personally think, like, if we want to go, obviously, when it comes to faith and religion, a lot of
Yeah,
it, like Christianity, in all intents and purposes, I'm more on the right side. The right side is doing a fucking garbage job into
yeah,
combating the entertainment side of stuff, because exactly what you said, Lofty. If you're going to be pulling that shit of like Chaos Smash and I were talking about Matt Walsh, and
yeah.
when someone asked him his thoughts about anime and he went all retarded on it, you're not opening up, you're not being inviting to people if you're going to tell them
You're
that every
pushing them away.
fucking what's up.
You're pushing them away.
Exactly. You're not going to win people, especially when it comes to entertainment, if you're going to say every form of entertainment you enjoy is heresy or satanic or some stupid shit. It's like
It's what they
mostly
did in the 90s and the 70s with the fucking comic books
yep,
and the video games and the violent movies and the Quentin Tarantino movies.
yep.
They did
And
the
a lot of
same
those
thing.
people who actually do say that, like, I've learned they actually don't know what the hell they're talking about, because
No,
they actually don't know. They actually don't know what the Bible is saying. They're just re-quoting shit.
right. I mean, when you're watching a movie, you're not lusting after the person the character in the movie is lusting after. You're not committing murder. You're not committing a sin by watching a movie. I've never bought that argument ever, unless it's a porno, maybe, or if it's
Yeah,
a
no,
snuff film, you know.
I agree. Yeah,
But
no, like
anyway,
these people don't know what they're spewing, like, on the right side. Like, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. They just throw out verses like that to try to
yeah.
one up someone and stuff like that.
But
That's actually
but
part of,
yeah,
like, with the show as well, is to
yeah,
showcase that you can enjoy entertainment and stuff like that, and like not have that aspect of someone of
yeah.
faith like doing that sort of shit. um like at Anime Matsuri, before I went back home, there was some guys, those Christian guys standing on the, well, not, they're not Christian, I'm gonna say that right now, those people with the megaphone screaming like at the people they're gonna burn in hell and stuff. I yelled at one of them because I'm like, you're not reaching anybody, you're not fucking you're not Jonah, man.
Right.
Dear Lord. We can get rid of this article, because now
But
that I
then there's
remember it,
you
it's just
know
throwing
it's
what the Pope said and stuff like that. Here's my
yeah,
main thing. Here's my main thing with the whole, like, the gay love scene,
yeah.
and I have yet to still get an answer about it. Like, what exactly does the homosexual scene or whatever have you? What makes it? What's the extra ingredient, the secret ingredient of it that makes it extra special? Because to me,
um
there's
I don't know.
nothing. To me, it's
It's
nothing. I don't get it.
to me it's just a love scene. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I watch
that's
a
the
lot of
main.
movies with a guy and a girl meet and they have a love scene and it's important, like a lot of I mean, I was watching Breaking the Waves the other day with Lars von Trier, and they have a love scene, and it's a
Mhm.
fantastic movie. But it's a guy and a girl. I don't know. I and they didn't even make love in this episode. They just were in bed, and it was like it was getting to the point where they were touching each other, and then they cut.
Oh,
It was
okay.
awkward. I'm not gay. I was like, it's not my thing, and I kind of was like cringing a little bit. But that's just because I don't know. Didn't
I
it wasn't
immediately,
that?
I
Yeah,
immediately thought of Norm Macdonald when he was where he was talking to what's his name, Tim Glass, and he's like, I saw Brokeback Mountain, and he's like, I don't want to come off as being gay, but I swear to God, it was a western. He's like, I thought it
Well,
was
I
a
don't
western.
know.
Here I am cheering on, looking for a guy with a white hat and a black hat, and I'm like, go, sheriff. The last thing I want to see is a beautiful hot cock slipping into a guy's asshole. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, then why not? And then then he just goes off. I love his response to it. I mean, that's what I thought of with that thing. But it goes back to what I said. Like, it's like, what exactly is the fucking special ingredient? And because you're trying to hype it up, like, oh, we have equality and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, what makes this special? Like, do these two guys find the fucking cure? Well, no. Okay, well then it's just two guys pounding each other. Like, what's so special about it? I don't get it.
Yeah, there's nothing special about it.
Yep.
I think that.
That is that is the point. Chaos Mesh says, funny enough, I remember playing The Last of Us, and after playing it, I felt disconnected from it, but I tried to rub it off. Nowadays, I get why I felt off.
He tries to rub one off. Ooh, that's spicy.
Oh. Well, what is it?
I'm
Tuckerman
kidding.
fucking specifically went out of the way to make the sex scene with Abby and stuff look bad or something.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Have you played part? Have you played part 2?
No, I just watched people play it.
You're not missing anything. That was one of the games where I legitimately just wanted to play it just to get over with it, because it was like, okay, I'm invested into this. I like to say I'm gonna finish what I started, sort of thing. I muscled as much as I could through it and beat the game, but dear God, that whole revenge art, the side revenge story in fucking Ghost of Tsushima was way better than part 2.
Oh yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is amazing.
Oh, I need to replay that game. I need to get a fucking PS5. Just because I have a bunch of PS4 games and get the physical disc PS5 version, so I can just backwards compatibility it. Which, Sony, why the fuck haven't you ever kept that up? That's what made you so amazing. It's the backwards compatibility. But then you just had to shit all over everything. Chaos Smash says, panders go to the 8th circle. Heresy of Hell. Well, if we're going Dante's Inferno route, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Inferno. I read that in high school.
It's a good book. I actually
amazing.
Have you read Dracula? Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah,
you should.
But it's again, I read a lot in high school, and I don't remember a thing from it.
I enjoyed it.
I read it again.
I was trying to there was at a point where I was trying to read a lot of books that certain movies were based on, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I want to read Frankenstein. What was it? The one that's based on not the Harrison Ford movie, Blade Runner.
Yep.
That was based on a novel I wanted to read too.
That's a great book. I'm reading right now 2001: Space Odyssey.
Oh, nice.
And I'm doing a podcast on Sunday.
Ooh.
With Mephisto. Nice. About the movie, and we're going to talk about it.
When's that happening?
Sunday afternoon. It's like a big podcast, maybe like 4 p.m. or something, and then we have like 3 of us talk about 2001, which is probably the most influential sci-fi movie ever made. It influenced Star Wars, and it fucking influenced Interstellar, every Christopher Nolan movie. Like, yeah, it's nice. So epic. It's so epic. I'm watching it again too. It's so good. Have you ever seen it? If not, you should watch our stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to check it out for sure. Chaos says, is it okay if I suggest to you to play the video on podcast of Micah Curtis talking about Matt Walsh? It's 13 minutes. Well, all the links people sent me of videos never play for me. I don't know why. But I think for right now, I want to just hang out with Lofty and get that sort of stuff. That might be something maybe at the end we'll pull up.
Yeah, Matt Walsh is interesting.
I was actually talking with Chaos about it. He straight up gives off the douchebag vibes.
He straight up said that all dogs are dirty and belong outside.
Well, douchebag.
He's a douchebag. That's
Yeah,
what I said. Yeah, I mean that's
exactly
what
what
we
I said.
agree on that.
Douchebag.
Yeah, we agree.
No,
Well, sometimes he's base, like, but it's like everybody's always sometimes base. Like, Crowder
here.
is sometimes based. Tim Pool's sometimes based. Jordan Peterson is sometimes based.
Well, since you brought that up here, like with the whole I guess more specifically with the Daily Wire,
Yeah,
which includes obviously Matt Welsh and Crowder thing,
yeah,
and going and kind of connecting of what we were talking about earlier with the right needing to stop being a bunch of fucking pussies and pushing people away in the entertainment area and actually just do stuff. Um,
yeah,
I personally sided with Crowder on that whole debacle, excluding the pre-recording sort of thing. I like Crowder just because he pushes back to that intensity that the left does in the entertainment industry. I think he does that more so than Daily Wire than just try to play it safe. That's just
yeah,
the impression I get, but I think that's something that the right just needs to start doing because I think especially with older people who don't know technology, boomers. If you don't fucking know what the hell technology, if you don't know technology, we're at the point where you got to stop hiding behind I'm a boomer sort of thing. So I'll just listen to what the other side is explaining to me about how technology is. Get someone who fucking knows technology that you know and have
exactly.
them explain it to you.
Yep, I agree. And I think
Like,
the right fights too much.
yep, exactly. That's an
Although,
excellent way of putting it. I mean, but thus is life
although
sort of thing.
I can't be hypocrite because I fight with people in this group too. But you know what? I don't
No,
know.
you don't.
Maybe I'm not on the right. I don't know.
No.
Maybe I because you know what I mean. Like I'll fight with people who are like Mario's woke because it has the Rainbow Road. I'm like,
But
fuck, you're fucking dumb. And then you know, like that kind of infighting, like I do that all the time.
that's just being
People,
fucking retarded because when I think of Rainbow Road, I fucking think of Mario Kart.
yeah, but yeah, but you know how people call things woke a lot that aren't actually woke. Like it just happens all the time.
Yeah,
And then sometimes I'm maybe I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit more centric when it comes to social stuff. Like social, like
I've
the
taken those
culture war.
tests.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've taken those tests, and I've been one of them. I was like what you just said, a centrist, and
Yeah,
then other one like moderate conservative. But I'm always like in the middle because I'm just like, what exactly specifically are we getting at? Sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And if
Because I'll be
something's
the
woke, I'll call it out. But I'm not
exactly
gonna
yeah.
call
If
out
it's
something
woke,
if it's not woke. And if it's woke and good, I'm gonna enjoy it. I don't
mhm.
know.
No, I
I'm
know.
just
I
yeah,
agree with you there. I'll say it right now. I fucking hate leftists, but I fucking hate the rhinos too. Because
yeah,
I personally think there's some demonic shit happening in the background. Um,
yeah. There always is.
yeah, and definitely the Grammys showed that up, and they think they're trolling on it. It's like, oh no, fuck no, dude. You're doing exactly what the demonics want, you weirdos.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, yeah. It's weird.
yeah, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go
Yeah,
down. But
yeah.
Ryan says, I mean, just because people weren't warned about the gay scenes doesn't keep it from being pandering, especially if the motive is to explicitly force it on the viewers.
Yeah, I was just talking about people who were people who specifically said that they were upset that they didn't know it was about a gay couple before watching it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have watched it. There's a whole thread about that on Twitter, and I was like, well, I mean, he was like, I said the trailer. I was like, I was like, it's in the game. It's in the game, and he's like, well, I didn't play the game, so I don't know they're gay. And I'm like, well, do you want people to? Oh no! And then it was Knock at the Cabin. He was like, they didn't tell me it was about a gay couple, and I went to see it, and it was about a gay couple, and he was like, and I would never have watched it if I knew that ahead of time. And I was like, what do you want them to do? Text you and tell you that it's about a gay couple? Like, what the fuck? Just watch the movie, and if it's bad, you just say it's a bad movie. I don't understand this whole
Yeah.
wanting to know it's gay before going into it thing. I don't get it. I don't
Well,
understand it.
I don't know. It's called you can like when you see it, you just shield yourself, sort of thing.
Yeah, or I
It's like
mean,
dear, but that's the thing is
you
that
sh-
I think it's also part of the idea of they've made it. on both sides. They're getting it to where it's extreme of if you support one little thing, you support everything.
Yeah.
And the both sides do it. And life is literally gray.
Yeah.
Life
Yeah. I
is
mean,
it's like, oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah, the black and white things, it's getting a little bit too out of control. It's like
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
care. I don't care if some stuff has gay stuff. I don't care if there's a gay character. Some of the really good movies are, by the way, are about gay people. Have you ever seen Happy Together? Wong Kar-wai.
Nope.
Have you ever seen Moonlight? Have you ever seen? Well, I just watched Knock at the Cabin. I mean, if maybe you don't like that movie, but it's about a gay couple. I liked it a lot. It's M Night Shyamalan. You know, what's his face in Split was a kind of technically a transgender person. You know, James McAvoy. One of his personalities was a woman. I mean, that's a little bit different, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% in one direction or the other direction. Now, when something's woken in your face, like, oh look, we're gonna have a 20-minute scene about how cisgender people um, are rude or horrible people, or about how white people or whatever. If it's woke like Velma, then I'm like, oh, that's horrible writing, horrible everything. Like, I will call it out, obviously. I like, you know, but
No, I agree.
it's just black. It's not black and white for me.
I mean, I'll be black and white, and that's going to be based on my faith, and
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I'm not going to move on that.
Yep.
What I believe in is that I believe in the Bible, and what does the
Yep.
Bible say? I'm not pulling my punches because it might hurt your feelings, but
Yep.
I also literally don't care
Yeah.
about what about what you do in your life, sort of thing. But when it starts showing up in my face over and over and over, and you're trying to tell me to care, that's when I have a problem.
Yep. That's true.
When I think of Rainbow Road, I start sweating and having panic attacks of mirror mode. Oh yeah, oh, chaos smash, exactly. Just hop over the edge and then do that shortcut cheat, and hopefully you'll land on the bottom section of it. You'll be good. But yeah, oh dear lord, yeah, I never.
Like, I just watched a movie called The Whale. Okay, with Brendan Fraser,
Yeah, I
and he
heard it's
plays a gay
good.
man. Okay, he's also 500 pounds, and the movie deals with a religious component to the film where like one of the characters is a missionary
Oh boy.
trying to help him spiritually in the last hours of his life. And we know this, right? It's not a spoiler, but we know that he's essentially dying because of his weight, like
Hmm.
right away in the beginning of the movie. Um, and you have this this nice kid from a church trying to help this fat man, and this gay fat man, like, reach a spiritual and kind of enlightenment before he dies, and then his daughter is different than that guy, and then there's like a clashing of faith, and it's a fantastic movie, right?
Hmm.
But he's gay, and it's really deep, guys. I'm just saying, it's a fantastic movie. But if you don't want to watch a movie about it, I get it. If that's not your thing, I get it. But
I
doesn't mean
mean,
the
but
movie's
does
bad.
the I mean,
Yeah.
well, I guess I was gonna say, does it really play a big part in the story? Because is it more about his weight, or is it more about his
No, it's big because his unfortunately someone close to him dies, and
ah?
it's his. I know people in real life who have left relationships because who got into relationships because they want to have a kid, but they're
Hmm.
actually gay, and then it doesn't work out, and then they leave, and then they go be with a man. I know many people like this in real life. This is a big problem
Mm.
in the
Yeah.
Christian community. There's a lot of people who are in the closet, and they don't want to talk about it, and then they get married when they should not have gotten married, have a kid, and then they have to leave because they can't. They are not happy for some reason, and
I don't.
that's what this movie deals with. That kind of relationship.
Okay.
Yep.
I
Yep.
get you.
Yep.
Yeah, s- that's something that I kind of don't, I guess,
Yeah.
get nowadays too. Because
Yeah.
like going, I guess, from what you were saying, like from knowing a lot of people and stuff like that, is it because they still is it because they still think that they're a victim of some kind, that if they did come out, like it would,
Well,
because
I'm
that's
talking
something
about
I
people who are
personally
in the
don't get
Christian.
at this point, because
Yeah. Well,
because nowadays, because legitimately, like legit people just do not care. It's
oh, I
the
know.
active it's the activists that are the problem,
I know.
because they're the ones saying we're oppressed and stuff like that, and you're not, and they're not.
But I'm talking about people who are heavily involved in religious, like the church
Mhm. Oh
and
yeah, so
communities. This is more like 10 years ago when it was kind of a little bit less common.
yeah.
Um, and I know people who have been fired from church positions for being gay, all this kinds of stuff. So and not recently, no, not as much. Um, but
I see. So it was
but it
more like
was a
in the
big
past.
problem. Yeah, and it's like,
Oh no, yeah,
and I know
I'm not
people who are
denying that that
gay that
wasn't.
don't want to be gay. You know, like I straight up know people who are definitely gay who are doing their best and doing the church thing and doing, but they're struggling. And I know I want to get into details, but like I'm telling you, it's kind of a problem. But this movie deals with that a little bit, and then there's other. Obviously, his weight is the major factor of the movie, like how
Yeah.
fat he is, and it's depressing.
Hmm.
But
Sounds
anyway,
good. Like I
it's fantastic. It's the guy
like
who
I actually
directed Black
liked what.
Swan and Requiem for a Dream. Darren Aronofsky.
Okay.
Really good director, but
Yeah,
it's
I just
depressing.
man, I know Brendan Fraser has been struggling a lot too, like
Yep.
acting wise and stuff like that. So if anything, I was just super happy to see Brendan Fraser back doing
Oh
something.
yeah, he won an
Cause
award last night at the SAG Awards, Screen Actors Guild,
nice.
and he's probably going to win an Oscar.
Good. I hope
Yep.
so. Because I know he was struggling with that too. Because
Yeah,
he,
he was lost.
yeah, he was lost. I've heard. I mean, the Hollywood, what happened, casting couch and that sort of stuff. I heard
Yep.
kind of happened with Fraser. I thought he said. I thought he.
Oh yeah, I can't remember that, but I think you're right. Yeah.
I think he shared he was molested or something like that. The
Yeah.
M word. Well, I said it
Yep.
now, so fuck it.
YouTube doesn't care.
Whatever. You'll remember. Wait, Chaos Smash. Which Mario Kart are you talking about? And then I replied, Mario Kart 64. Okay. You'll remember. Okay. Yeah, there was a shortcut, right? In Mario Kart 64 on Rainbow Road. Like you could
Oh
time it to where
yeah.
you could jump over the edge and land on the bottom and like completely
Yep.
cut everybody off.
Yep. Definitely.
Kind of says it's kind
Speedrunners.
of what's up?
Well, speedrunners are all about Mario 64. There's
Oh
so many
yeah.
shortcuts.
Oh yeah, man, speed running. Man, that's another thing too. I don't know if I could enjoy speed running,
Nah.
because if I knew the game, if I played the game and know how good the story is and story control or what have you, why would you want to skip all that? But that's just me.
Yep.
It's kind of what happened to a friend of mine recently. He's doing fine now and is going down the road being in straight relationships. Hey, it's everyone, I'm
Yep.
I'm not really going to say anything per se. Like I said, I stand by what the Bible says, and ultimately, in the end, through God, you can overcome anything. As corny as that sounds, but
Yep.
that's what it says. So,
Yep.
that's some people. That's just sometimes. It's unfortunate. Some people have to go through life like that until they figure out what they need to do to take the right steps. So,
Yep.
all I can say is, well, if he truly feels happy about it, then, or whoever, then good.
Yeah.
Good, good.
There's always counseling and whatever therapy,
Mhm.
all that stuff. If you have to have extra help.
I'm
But yeah.
looking over on Niche Gamer and I'm seeing a Venom thing. But then it immediately, this is something I actually wanted to get into, and curious about because I did watch your show yesterday where you were ranking a bunch of videos and movies.
Oh,
I was watching there. And you put
I
Ghostbusters.
remember that. What's
What's
that?
up?
I think I remember you being there. Yeah, I was kind of ranting the whole time.
No, that's all. It's all good. That's what really that's what all these shows are about. It's just
Right.
ranting, but ranting with friends
Yep.
and
Yep.
getting and just enjoying the salt. Chaos knows how salty I can get about stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm definitely interested in your ranking of Ghostbusters Afterlife specifically, because like I said, I I recently broke through a dry spell of just enjoying anime, enjoying movies and stuff like that, and saw I never first off, I never saw Ghostbusters 2016. Never saw that one.
No,
Never going to.
I'm not
Uh,
either.
what's up?
I'm not either.
Oh, you haven't seen it either. Nice.
No, no, no.
Nice. And and when you ranked Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think in your C category,
Yeah.
you weren't happy with the ending. Could you go in a little bit of detail of why you weren't happy with the ending? Are you talking about just how abrupt it was, or
No, I just
story
thought it
wise?
was goofy. I thought it's like we have a bunch of kids running around with like these ghost figures, and well, look here, obviously it's goofy. It's supposed to be goofy, right?
Hmm.
Because Ghostbusters is super fucking goofy. But
Yeah.
Ghostbusters has a different vibe to it, right? Ghostbusters is goofy throughout the whole movie. Most of this movie, Afterlife, was like, okay, Paul Rudd's funny,
Hmm.
but they were almost taking it a little bit too seriously the whole movie. And then um I don't know, the ending to me, um it wasn't bad. Like again, I put it in my C tier. It just wasn't like what like when they were when the guys came back at the end, I almost wish they were in the whole movie. Like to me I was like, and we have to
Yeah,
wait till the end of the movie for all these people to show up. Like it was like a big tease, you know.
I get you.
um the movie was fine. I just don't think it was anywhere near as interesting and funny and clever and goofy and fun as the original movie. I don't know, like
Hmm.
what parts did you like about the new one? I'm just curious, like because
So
like Paul Rudd's funny, but like I can't really think of a scene from that movie that's like iconic. I really can't. Maybe the
I
ending,
think,
but
yeah, I think a lot of it does have to rely on knowing the past films too. I'm an
yeah.
interesting case because I actually saw Ghostbusters 2 before Ghostbusters 1. And I know a lot of people don't like Ghostbusters 2. I
Yeah.
actually like Ghostbusters 2. And then I saw Ghostbusters 1 and I appreciate it even more because I understand why people like Ghostbusters 1
Yeah.
over Ghostbusters 2 so much. So, and also, I I think first, and maybe have you played the video game Ghostbusters, the video game?
No, no.
I would highly recommend you playing it because if you want that third movie that has all the original like cast members, that's the video game is the third
Oh,
movie, in my personal opinion.
okay.
And
I've never seen the second one.
oh, you
I've
haven't?
only seen the first one. Yeah. I never watched the second one.
Oh, okay.
I should watch it.
I would say watch it. I'll just say in a nutshell, the reason why people don't like it, and I won't spoil anything, is just a lot of it was geared towards trying to not so much combine, but a lot of it was influenced by the real Ghostbusters toy line,
Gotcha.
sort of thing.
I've
So,
just never been into sequels of movies that I like, of like horror sci-fi movies. Like I've never seen the Exorcist sequel. I've never watched the Psycho sequel. I've never watched
mhm.
I'm trying to think of a lot of classic movies that have like I've only seen the first Friday the 13th movie. I've only seen the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm just not a fan of like sequels that are like baiting you in to watch them to like spread too much butter over like toast,
I get what
you
you
know.
mean. Yeah.
But some of them are
Chaos
I'm
says,
missing out on. Like it's my kind of partly like a weakness of mine because I'm probably missing out on some good sequels. I just yeah, I don't know.
hey, if Lofty wants to do it, Chaos, he says Ghostbusters 2 stream with Lofty. I'd be down. I don't know how we
Yeah,
could get that to work unless it was like a Twitch stream with Prime. I
I've
would
been
assume.
thinking about doing stuff like that too on my stream, and I can't figure it out. Like I guess I got to do Twitch now. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
Twitch.
Rumble. I don't know what Rumble's policy is for
I don't
movies.
know Rumble's policy. I'm not sure. I know Twitch. You can do it through Twitch Prime. I know
Yeah,
for
I'll have to
sure.
do that. I'll
I
have to
know
do
for
that.
sure if it's on Twitch Prime, you should be okay with it. But here's the thing, because Nick's been doing that, and he's been watching like whenever he can, like the bad '80s movies. There's one that I want him to watch called Blood Moon with Gary Daniels, and like the full movie is on YouTube. Like it hasn't been taken down or anything. So you could theoretically watch the full movie on YouTube if you did a screen capture. But again, I don't know how that works.
Right, you might got to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to your original question, I think what I like a lot of the stuff you said, I do agree with. Like the ending was abrupt.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more extended closure, I guess you could say, than just boom, bad guy is defeated.
Yeah.
There you go. I
Also, I'm
want to
not a
say,
massive fan of the original Ghostbusters. I like it.
oh, I'm not either. I'm not
It's just
either.
kind of goofy and it's just not really my thing, but
Then it might be something that
yeah.
maybe if you, especially when you said you haven't seen the second one,
Yeah.
I think it was the literally the spirit of the movie, at least
Yeah.
for me. They got
Like
it.
yeah.
They got it right and played it safe in Afterlife, as opposed
Yeah.
to that garbage 2016 one.
Yeah.
So it was more.
I can see that. Yeah, they got the spirit right. They got the nostalgia right a little
Yeah,
bit.
they
But
got that right.
but other than that though, like if you're thinking back on the movie right now, can you think of like an iconic scene from the movie that you like? I can't. I mean, the
um,
first part of the movie is just, like what? The
yeah,
kids driving the car. Maybe the marshmallow scene
I was
in the
thinking
Walmart.
of. I mean, I was thinking of when the car got upgraded to where it could come out and the beams. You could actually shoot the beams while you're driving the car.
Yeah,
I
the
like.
car stuff was very well done. It was great.
Yeah,
It was great. Like the filmmaking was great. It kind of felt like kind of forgettable. I don't know. Like it's not bad, it's not great. Like if you're comparing, like if I had to put it up into my A tier category, then
hmm
then I'm comparing it to movies like Avatar 2. I'm comparing it to movies like fucking like Evangelion, the new Evangelion,
Ooh,
Dune. Like Ghostbusters Afterlife is nowhere near as good as Dune. It's just not.
ooh. We do need
I
to
don't know.
talk about Ava because I love Ava.
Oh,
But no,
I'm talking
I
about the
get.
new movie. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I get what you. No, yeah, I get what you mean. Where it's definitely not something to where you can think of specific scenes. Excuse me, scenes that really stood out.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
just
guess
good.
I do think that I think why I enjoyed the movie, it was that it was something that did capture the spirit of 1 and 2
Yeah.
and played it safe to where you you didn't have to worry about something new showing up, I guess you could say, in the sense of something that would not be in a Ghostbusters universe
Right.
sort of thing.
True. Yeah.
That's kind of how I took it because I've also played the video game and someone else I did see, some people say, "Oh, the video games like a lot of the plots are like from 1 and 2 and stuff like that." But really a lot of the other stuff came from um Ghostbusters 3 scripts that just are still stuck in developmental hell. Like a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff they took and incorporated into the video game.
Yeah.
And if that's something that like people want to have it, because if the spirit and what made Ghostbusters wasn't successfully captured in the 2016 one, they were just banking off of the franchise and then somehow thought calling people sexist for not liking it is going to make the movie good. Doesn't really
Yep.
help, sort of
Yep.
thing. Then I think Afterlife was towed the line really well. But I do agree. Yeah, it is something to where a lot of stuff that if you can remember, like what was memorable to you doesn't really stand out.
Yeah, I
as
just
much.
think it's an example of a modern day or franchise reboot or sequel or whatever
Hmm.
that is just okay, but being just okay is like it's
Yeah.
like it's like in this climate when everything sucks, it seems like it's like way better. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I
Um,
agree.
that's kind of how I got the vibe
No,
from that.
yeah,
But
I agree with you too, and yeah, I wouldn't lie and say I would take that okay movie and put it right behind Ghostbusters 2, and then I don't know. I guess there was a 2016 one. I never heard of it. So
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put the original in A tier, you gotta at least put Afterlife in B. I mean, I put it in C tier because I just don't think the original movie has so much more
mhm.
fun. Like I would watch that movie on repeat over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's
This
why I
new
was just
one, I don't know if I would watch this new one on repeat over and over again. I just
no. I get you.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
but
I was just curious about more of your reasoning behind it. So
oh yeah, but look at all the bottom tier ones that I have. Like they're all reboots and sequels. All the reboots and sequels are so bad that like Ghostbusters was kind of like a highlight, and then so was what's the other one? Top Gun. That was a highlight. You know, it's like that's a breath of fresh air. Like Top Gun being good. You know,
mhm.
as opposed to all the others like freaking like all the like Jurassic World, Dominion, Cruella, Shang-Chi, um, the Candyman remake sucked. Mortal Kombat reboot or whatever. Venom, like all these Matrix 4,
Man,
all this stuff, all this stuff comes out as a reboot or sequel, and it's all trash.
I enjoyed Venom. I thought it was I categorized it as fun.
Oh, I meant Venom 2, sorry.
No, no, no. Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at, and I
Oh
was
yeah.
just gonna comment on is Venom 2 really that sad
Uh,
that down in there? Is there no fun element to it?
I mean, look, um, I mean, fun? No, not for me. I thought it was. I thought it was not fun at all. I mean, like Mortal Kombat to me was
Oh,
had a
fudge.
lot of action. I mean, people think that's a fun movie, but I thought it was terrible. And then like any Marvel movie has like a bunch of action that can be considered fun, but that doesn't mean it's good fun. I don't know. I just thought Venom 2 is a forgettable movie. They ruined Carnage. The action scenes are not interesting to me at all. I can't even
Mhm.
think of one example of in that movie that stands out as a compelling scene. At least the first Venom had a fun fight at the end, and then the one scene in the middle was fun. I don't know. And it's
But
PG-13. I'm like, come on! It shouldn't be PG-13. It should be rated R.
yeah, I do agree with that, and I wish the first one would have had that. Was there but
I
tell
don't
me, was
like
there at least
fun
head biting
movies that are
in Let There Be
boring. Oh wait,
is there
sorry. Go
head
ahead.
is there head biting in Let There Be Carnage?
No, everything's off screen. When if they bite the head, maybe they show it. I don't remember, man. Let There Be Carnage is one of the most forgettable movies I've seen in a long
Oh,
time.
dude, that sucks. Because even in the first one, rated PG-13, you, like, at least saw, like, the chomp and then,
Yeah, you can
like,
see the chomps,
thrown
but there's no
away.
blood, and it's just like the
Oh,
scariest
man.
part of the movie is Venom's face. Like,
Mhm. Lo
um,
Alfarius says, "Lofty Afterlife was a C+." plus.
yeah, that's what I gave it.
I feel sorry that Keanu Reeves had to do Matrix 4.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I'm
Have you
excited
seen
to
it?
see I will say I do love the John Wicks,
Oh, I love
movies.
them. They're great. But have you seen The Matrix 4, dude?
I have not.
Oh, don't. He doesn't shoot a gun one time in the movie, not once.
That's
Not one time.
that's not Matrix at all.
No, it isn't Matrix. It's not. And he and he, and
Used up all of his skill in Wick, which is fine with me.
no, the movie's all about him being like some kind of weird like passing the torch thing. And guys, it's not a good movie, man.
Always
It's just
fucking passing the torch. That was something that I
it's
wish Afterlife would have done per se, was a better passing of the torch. I
yeah, but
get it that
that's
it's
a generational thing. I'm
yeah.
talking about Reeves being like not exactly the one anymore or something. Like they just fucking ruined the whole lore.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah. New Mortal Kombat
I
was
like when they generationally pass the torch, like to a new generation. That's fine. I don't care about that. I'm trying to think of an example of that, but
well, it was like what you were saying when like I would like for Afterlife, like I wish all the original cast would have been more in the movie. I do agree with that. I think there definitely could have
Yeah.
been more of that in there with the passing of the torch with the next generational sort of thing. That could have
Yeah.
been done a lot better.
Yeah.
Um, Alfaria says new MK was the only movie I fell asleep in a theater with. Oh man,
It's terrible.
no,
Terrible.
you're-
Bad writing, bad acting, bad plot, bad CGI, terrible CGI, terrible action scenes. No, there's like almost no martial arts in the movie whatsoever. It's just like people doing like weird things. It's terrible. Can't even
is
recommend.
the
The Sub-Zero is the best part of the movie, but even that is not good.
oh
Anyway,
geez. Wasn't like there was that based on that YouTube little Mortal Kombat series that was going around? What was
oh
that,
no,
Legacy?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Because I remember back then there was like that YouTube series where they were kind of doing it, and it was kind of set in more real time per se. Like Cabal was like some guy that like etched in the blades into his hand as opposed to just being a monster sort of thing.
Right.
I thought that was something that was pretty cool. I think that's see with that sort of thing, I call it the kind of like the Christopher Nolan treatment. And this can kind of tie back into like what do you think about this, Lofty, with live action Netflix anime shows? I personally think the only way to make a successful one, and I think there are some. My point to reference would be the Rurouni Kenshin live action series. Those were actually
Yeah,
good.
that's what I hear. Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't seen them.
I would recommend watching those. I think it could have been written a lot better, but I mean, when you're trying to combine in a bunch of stuff together, obviously, it's going to be a little bit difficult. I definitely would recommend checking that out if you haven't already.
I want to because I hate live action anime adaptations, and have avoided it just because like
And that's what I
I
was getting
love
with.
Kenshin. I love it.
Oh, dude, Rurouni Kenshin was. What's your favorite arc?
Shishio Makoto arc is the
Really,
best.
you like the
Yeah.
Shishio? That's a good one. I actually like the Jinshu arc.
Okay. I
I
think is that the wait. Is that after Shishio?
Yeah, so with the anime, they caught I from what I remember, they
The
caught up with
religious
the
guy?
manga and then they just went and did their own thing.
Yeah.
And then the only time you ever got the Jinshu arc was in Samurai X Reflections
Oh, okay.
or
Yep.
Seshio or something like that. I can't remember
Yeah.
the Japanese name of it. But it was very obviously very cropped down and it was just Anishi. But the live action one actually has the Jinshu arc, and I love it because to me that was what made like to me I think it was a perfect circle and coming around to who Kenshin is as a person
Right.
because each arc reflected on you have the new age, you have Shishio wanting to return back to the old age and creating a new history, and
Hmm.
then you've got finally Kenshin's past physically returning to him and then having to deal with that and to overcome everything. I thought
Yep.
it was a good stuff, but a lot of people said that the Jinshu arc couldn't get animated and stuff because it got into a lot of it got very comic based. Like one of the characters is very venomous, venom type.
Uh,
Have you read the manga?
no, I've not read the manga. I bought the manga, and
Ooh, manga's
plowing
good.
through. I'm plowing through. Oh man, dude, I got so much manga that I have never read because I was addicted to buying it, and then I was fucking
I got there at 1.2 and I
yeah,
had to stop.
yeah,
I had to
yeah.
stop because I was getting paranoid because I would get volumes and I would get the ones that had the crappy print, like smeared print lines because they didn't let it dry quick enough. And I would get to the point where I had to go back and like return it and stuff. And at one point, my folks were like, "We're not going back there," because my OCD was like super kicking in. I was like,
Right.
then they're like, "No, you're fine with this," and I'm like, "But this is not what I paid for. I want this fucker pristine."
Yep.
But then
Yep.
when you're dealing with Viz, I heard the Viz translations aren't exactly the greatest translation sort of thing. I'd definitely check out the manga though of Rurouni Kenshin for sure, and then check out the live action series. Sorry if this is piling on stuff that you plan on
No,
checking
I
out
got
as
I got the first volume of the manga. like I said, I'm finishing up right now Berserk, and I'm finishing up. Well, I just finished Vinland Saga. Actually, right now I'm reading a book, like a straight up book, 2001: Space Odyssey.
There you go. Yeah.
But
I'll have to check that. I need to check that one out. I know that one's a really
it's a great
like
movie, dude.
a movie for sure. But yeah, what I was getting with is if, and this is something that maybe if you ever see the live action Kenshin, you might be able to kind of get what I was talking about. Like, I feel like, for example, the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, I think he successfully captured it enough, and the same with the Rurouni Kenshin, is they successfully captured it enough to where it can convince you enough to think that this is all taking place in our universe, but there's still a bunch of
Yeah,
elements in there that clearly it's like, okay, no one could really do that, especially with Kenshin. But what's cool with with like the sword moves and stuff like that, but a lot of it is actually choreographed, so it is true, but there's also still that hint of your wires and stuff being used. But a lot of it you could actually pause. I noticed you could pause it, and it could be like a move that could actually not 100% line up, but look exactly like a move from one of the panels of the manga.
yeah. I hear the new Creed is doing straight up panel panel adaptations from Ippo and Dragon Ball Z. They're straight up taking artwork from the anime Dragon Ball Z in Hajime no Ippo and straight up doing it in live action. That's what I hear
Wow.
about the new Creed. He's a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, or what's his name?
Man, I wish we could get a good Dragon Ball Z movie.
I agree.
I've been wanting
That's
to
gonna
write a
be
script.
possible.
I was determined to actually write a Dragon Ball Z script because I sadly have seen Dragon Ball Evolution, and it's not good, not good at all.
It's terrible. It's one of the worst movies ever made.
One of the, you want to know what's funny is when you saw the energy fight, to me that wasn't even energy. Like, those weren't energy beams. They were like mist beams and something like that. Like, you kind of get what I'm saying, sort of thing. Like, if you remember it at all, I can
Well,
understand
when
if
he
you
did the
completely
Kamehameha
mentally.
and put out the stupid freaking candle, he was like Kamehameha, and then it puts a candle out with it. It's like, what? That's not even what the Kamehameha does.
Every time you blow out a candle, you can step closer to me. Oh my gosh, just like shoot me in the face. That was terrible. Even Japan messes up their live actions, but not but they're not insufferable like the West. Well, this is what I'm getting at. Like, I think if you honestly if you do a Christopher Nolan treatment with anime, you could make a good one. Probably not a masterpiece, maybe. I don't know. But like, again, with the Yu Yu Hakusho, for example, that straight up looks like a cosplay fan film
They all
with
look like
all
cosplay. Yeah.
with all the bright colors and stuff like that. I think if you toned it down and not be as bright and vibrant, I mean, there's some like darker shade to the coloring, but you got to go more than that. I
Yeah.
personally think. Like, you all like, that's what I like about Rurouni Kenshin. For example, Kenshin, he still has the orange hair, but it's not that bright, vibrant orange hair, kind of like your avatar.
Right.
Like, if you find, and the same with Anishi, he has white hair, and there's a reason why it's white, but in the show, it's like a mixture of white and black because his sister's hair was black and his hair was black originally. But it wasn't like just your cosplay wig brightness sort of thing. And I think that's what they're getting at
Yeah. It
with
needs.
all these live action films. And it just fucking, the thing with Cowboy Bebop, I know a lot of people hated Faye's outfit. I personally think if they would have just kept with that sort of style throughout the entire show, it might have been good, excluding the writing. But I think
Right.
they tried to capture a lot of stuff from the anime, but then a lot of stuff like with Faye's outfit. Like, you could have even had it to where she was wearing that outfit, it gets ruined, and she has to wear her outfit that everyone knows, sort of thing. But that's But when the actual creator says like he couldn't even stomach through it.
I know. It's not the same thing as his show. He came out and said that he couldn't even watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I read that article. That was so funny. That was absolutely funny that it's like, oh my gosh. That's why
Yeah.
I'm scared with the UU one, because the director says, yeah, we're following the producer's vision. It's like, well, it's gonna probably suck then, because they're not really gonna care.
Yeah.
Chaos Mesh says Rurouni Kenshin live action was not the only good live action movie. Gintama live action was so well received it got a sequel live action movie, which was also well received. That was just my example. Again, keep in mind I haven't been up top with any movies and stuff like that. Again, I broke through my dry spell of anime and movies because I was just fucking pissed off at everything. And I was like, I don't want any of this.
Yeah, I think most of them are bad. I don't know what he's talking about with Gintama. I haven't seen it, but I am kind of optimistic about the Gundam live action. Now, it's probably going to be terrible, but what they did with Pacific Rim, I feel like they can do. I mean, that's straight basically an anime.
Yeah,
I mean, Pacific Rim is basically a live action anime without being based on anything.
I definitely felt very Ava style with Pacific Rim. I think that's probably why I enjoyed it.
I mean, it's good.
But I liked it. I thought it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. It's
Did they make a second
amazing.
one?
Yeah, the second one was awful. The first one's amazing.
Okay, because I think I've seen the first one only.
Yeah, the first one's great. They made the second one is not even the same director. It's not Del Toro. You could tell when Guillermo del Toro directs a movie, it's amazing. Hellboy 1 and 2, amazing. Pacific Rim, amazing. Pan's Labyrinth, amazing. You know, and then he passes the torch to some other person. They step in and they ruin the whole franchise. Bad.
Tell you what a really good movie is. Boondock Saints.
Yep. I like that movie. It's fun.
I love that movie. I even got a poster.
Yep.
I really, man. I mean, Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. It was okay. Definitely. I've noticed a pattern of like, it's like with Rocky, with the Boondock Saints and stuff like that. It's like when you have that guerrilla type of filming and shooting because you either have a low budget or stuff like that, like it actually ends up being really good. And then when you have a bigger budget, like everything just turns to garbage.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Stallone's like, I thought Stallone did pretty well with the Rocky series. At least 1 and 2. Let's see. 3's with Clubber Lang, right? Have you seen all the Rockies?
I've seen 1 through 4. Yeah.
3's Clubber Lang, and then 4's with Ivan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen 5. I couldn't even remember to tell you what 5 was about. I did Joey Rocky Balboa. That was
right.
That was okay. What's this? Niche Gamer. Oh gosh, that sounds awful. Well, we might visit that in a little bit, but oh man, this would have to be a whole nother show if we go down Ava, because Neon Genesis Evangelion's like, I think the perfect example of what an anime is and should be.
It is, and I think it's going to be remembered for thousands of years.
Yep, I agree. Do you like I like both OG and Rebuild. I think nothing obviously can top the OG and the end of Ava. Rebuild, I think you have to be like Anno in a different mindset to appreciate it. But you ranked, what was it? A Rebuild of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. What did you put that into? Like your A list, or was that
my A tier? Yeah,
it's up there. Tier?
Yeah. Mostly because of the animation and because of the. It's just excellent writing, excellent animation, excellent production value. The changes that it made. Now, the additions that it has and all that stuff. I need to go back and rewatch the entire original series again. I know I've also never watched End of Evangelion, so I don't have much to say about
Mm.
the that kind of critiquing of Eva in that sense. I need to rewatch. It's been since I was maybe 15 since I've watched Eva, the OG series, and I've never saw End of Evangelion. But I think
Oh
this new
man, oh, that's a
stuff is
great
amazing.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that might be something we might have to come back with when you get up to date with that and
yeah,
stuff. Because my friend and I, like two of my good friends, Eric and Tom, like specifically Tom and I, we had a theory about how everything could connect together, and they kind of did that in the final rebuild movie. But you would have to, like I said, you would actually have to see End of Ava, which I would highly, 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 highly recommend getting on top of that like ASAP.
right.
Um, and then if you ever want to revisit the OG, just let me know because I think you should. I think there's a specific way you should watch it because there's some director's cuts that include stuff that really helps tie a lot more stuff together and
I need to
elaborate
watch it.
more. So
Yeah,
I would recommend that, and I have that if you ever or want to check it out again. Just hit me up, and I could kind of
nice.
tell you a watching order, or you can do what you wish. Up to you. But I do think people should check out the director's cuts of certain episodes if they haven't already of the OG series. But when you were on my show with Joe, when you invited, we got to talking about Dragon Ball Z a little bit, and
I love Dragon Ball Z.
yes.
I have about 45 Dragon Ball Z figures right behind me.
Oh, geez, nice.
Yep.
So here's my question for you. So I'm actually not a I'm not a big super fan. I'm not a super fan of Super. Um,
I like it.
I personally think it's. I think each part of the Dragon Ball universe was well done by itself with Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z, excluding GT sort of thing. What are your thoughts on the current Super? I haven't kept up with the manga, by the way.
I haven't either. I don't like reading manga mostly. I just watch anime, to be honest. A couple
Okay.
manga I read. I'll read Berserk. I'll read Vinland Saga. I'll read stuff I've already watched. But if it's something that I haven't watched yet, I don't want to read the manga. I want to wait. So I don't
Okay.
like spoilers.
Oh, okay. Because I'm kind of the opposite. The opposite in the sense of I want to 100% know what the intent, like what the creator wanted
Gotcha.
in the story. And if the manga is exactly how the creator wanted it and the anime doesn't follow it, I would want to read the manga first as opposed to like
Yeah.
the anime, or if it's vice
But
versa
I
sort
get
of thing.
that. But then I hear a lot of the times I've heard that the anime that I like, the manga readers are like, well, the manga's better. And then I read the manga and I disagree. Chainsaw Man is a good example. I think the anime is a masterpiece, and I think the manga is not as interesting. And
Mm,
I'm like, well, maybe. Oh, another one is what the fuck was this one? Now, most of the times the manga is better in terms of the story, right?
yeah.
Like Promise Neverland. Trying to think. I mean, obviously Berserk. um,
I need to read the manga. I've seen the anime.
yeah,
The original anime, not the OVAs and what is it that weird 2.5D
yeah.
OVAs or something like that.
Right, but another one is Attack on Titan. I like the anime much better than the manga. So, um,
I gave up on Attack on Titan. I've seen both the anime
yeah,
and the manga. I mean, I stopped once you kind of. I think they're well past it, and I won't try to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it. But I stopped once you find out about the secret in what's his name, Jaeger's lab or
oh yeah,
whatever. Um, I stopped after that. I was like, nope, I'm done. Not to mention the manga, I didn't like the art style. And
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
like
either.
I didn't like the art style, and it was so confusing because, for me at least, because there were so many damn subplot stories, and I was like, I'm like, this person looks like this other person, but the dialogue's different, and it doesn't make sense. Like, I got seriously confused with the manga.
Yeah, the manga doesn't have very good art either.
Yeah, I agree with
But
that. Alfarius, ooh, uh-oh. He says Ava is an overrated, unfinished outlet for Anno's depression and nihilism. Dude had some serious issues and didn't treat it or know he had it for
yeah,
decades.
there's a lot going on in the psychology of Evangelion.
Yeah, that's what makes it so awesome.
I just think like it's like beautiful, pure religious, spiritual, psychological storytelling that's like I've never seen anything like it, and I never will.
Mhm.
And on top of that, the angel designs are incredible. The Ava suits are amazing.
Oh,
Characters are amazing.
I love
Yeah.
the Ava design. I love that
Yeah.
humanoid robot design.
Yep.
Have you seen Razafon or heard of Razafon?
I don't think so.
That one is an interesting one because you can pretty much describe it as Evangelion with music, like music based.
Okay.
Very
Where's
interesting.
that
It's
from?
spelled really weird. That's another one I would suggest that you check that out.
Yeah.
Let me see if I
I've heard of
can.
it. This is back in the day. Yeah, I've heard of this. I might have watched some of it.
Good to see Greg not explode here. Why would I explode? Why would I
Did you
explode?
blow up?
I don't know. I guess he thought I would get really salty, maybe by that last comment.
Oh,
But
Ava.
when I'm trust me, folks, I'm already pissed off with like car issues and stuff, and I'm tired of being mad about that. So I'm here to just hang out.
Hey, if
And
somebody hates Ava, I at this point so many people like it that I don't care if somebody hates it. They're welcome to hate it. I love it.
yeah,
You
that's
know,
because they just don't get it.
I get a little bit more attached to stuff that I think is underrated and that I think people should like. That rather than stuff that I think like Avatar 2, I liked it, but people shit on it. I'm just like, well, I don't care. Clearly, a lot of people like it. I'm like, I'm not going to
I
get
have
too offended by people like.
I don't
I don't
know.
like. Oh
I
yeah,
gave
I
up.
was gonna say I don't like when something I think is amazing is like undervalued or underappreciated. That's when I start to get a little defensive. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Avatar.
Like I mean, me personally, I have no intention of seeing Avatar 2 anytime soon. I
Yeah,
guess. I mean, I saw it in 3D, like the first one. I mean, obviously
yeah.
it was amazing, but I don't know. It felt
This
like,
one's way better.
oh
This one's
yeah,
way better. Yeah, especially in 3D and IMAX. It's just so much better. The first one's good, but this technology they use in this one is like imagine what movies are going to look like 20 years from now. That's exactly what this looks like. No other movie even comes close. The only thing I can think
like
of
what,
maybe
like
is
I guess. Do you
like
know what Cameron did to kind of
oh
push
yeah,
it beyond the
yeah
limits, sort of thing?
he invented underwater cameras. He invented parallax cameras that have forward and horizontal and vertical movements that meet in the middle that create this weird depth of field effect. He created an entire vivarium where people can make anything they want underwater. It's never been done before. And then he did this thing. Oh, there's so many things he had to invent.
Like
It's hard to describe.
specifically for this movie?
Oh yeah, just for this movie.
Oh
Yeah,
damn. Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know that. That's
This
insane. If that
movie's
wow.
yeah, yeah. The technology in this movie is like nothing you'll ever see. Like imagine, like what's the best visual looking movie you've ever seen? I'm just curious. Like in
Mm.
terms of most impressive like technology on screen.
No, yeah, I get what you're
Have you
getting
ever seen
at.
Interstellar? That's a good one.
Interstellar, I have not seen.
Chris Nolan.
Yeah, I know it's by Nolan,
But
but
like
I
what I'm trying to say is like just imagine like your peak
yeah,
tech like movie like that you think is the best. Nolan spent 5 times the amount of effort and time making Avatar 2 than whatever that is.
oh
Because every
geez,
other movie is
wow.
like what 2-3 years tops for for production. Like even the Lord of the Rings trilogy was 3
Mhm.
years. Avatar was 12 years. Avatar 2. 12 years. Imagine putting 12 years into a video game. That would be, instead of rushing it out like Cyberpunk. Imagine if CD Projekt Red spent 12
Feels good.
years or double the amount of time working on that and then released it.
Wow.
That's what Avatar 2 did.
Jeez.
Anyway, I like hyping it up to people who haven't
Oh
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah. I feel like that one. Do you think, like, specifically, I guess, talking about Avatar 2, do you think that you could only truly experience it then with so much of the technology in like a theater,
Yeah,
like
unfortunately.
3D?
Yeah. You'll notice if you watch it at home, you'll definitely notice
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the technology, especially the water, because it's all fake, but it doesn't look fake. It looks real. It's all fake though. The water itself is fake,
That's
but it doesn't.
crazy.
It's wild. Like you'll notice all that stuff, but you won't see the 3D. You won't see the IMAX proportions and things like that. It's one of those movies you got to watch in theaters, but
Mm.
it's still amazing. Unless if you have a 4K TV, it's going to look great.
I'm behind
But
on
the
my
plot, oh,
my
okay,
technology.
yeah, yeah. The plot of Avatar is a little bit more simple.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's just it's basically The Last Samurai. Have you ever seen that movie with Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so
this. It's the same exact plot.
isn't it like didn't they say like the first one is exactly like Dances with Wolves?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's what The Last Samurai is. It's the same thing.
Oh, true. Okay, so
Yeah.
they they redid it again, huh? Only.
Yeah, they keep doing it. I mean, the story works. It worked in The Last Samurai.
Hey, I
Last
am.
Samurai is just Dances with Wolves with Samurai. I mean,
Hey,
it worked really well.
I am one where if you take a similar story, but you can repackage it, make it look amazing, and yet add something new to it that
True.
makes it stand out, go ahead,
True.
go
I
ahead,
I
because
agree.
I think. Do you think being original is like, is that pretty much dead? Do you think everything's been done now in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I'm
like
kind. Go
I'm
ahead.
trying to think of an example
Oh, okay.
of something. I'm looking at all my movies right now. I mean, essentially, originality in art and film
Hmm.
is oh, God. Like even I want to say Infinity Pool is an incredibly original movie. Just came out this year.
Like, do you think there was a time when obviously something hasn't been done before and the movie kind of set it off and stuff? Like, do you like, because I do think
Yeah.
we're at that point where it's like, right, like now it's going to just be making a really nice repackaged, like,
Oh,
idea and stuff like that to
I
keep it
think
going.
Apocalypse Now was groundbreaking at the time with what that did. I think 2001: A Space Odyssey was
Hmm.
groundbreaking. I think Jurassic Park was the first ever movie ever that did that level of immersive giant monsters. You know,
Yeah,
that
I
was
get you.
original because of the technology that they used.
You
Before
want to
that,
know
it was
what?
puppetry. It was all puppetry. You know.
You want to know what I thought was really good for its time? The Mask, like the animation for
Oh
the
yeah,
Mask and stuff like that. I thought that was really good at the time too. It's
yeah.
amazing.
I
It's
mean,
amazing how like those old 80s, 90s movies, like, I mean, obviously you can kind of see the age, but a lot of them, like Terminator 2, for example, the technology for the T1000 stuff, like still really solid, like today,
yes,
sort of thing. And I think this is something
that's
that
James Cameron.
Cameron, yeah, it is Cameron. Yeah, Cameron knows what's up. But this
Yep.
is something that I think, wondering what you think about too. I think the spirit of like movies and stuff can be brought back, or like at least revived and revamped if people would stop so much with the CG and do like what we were talking about, bringing back puppetry,
Yes.
and like bring back squibs, like blood squibs and stuff.
Oh
E-
yeah, that's why
even
I can't
even if
stand
it's
fake blood splatter.
Yep, like even
Can't
if it
stand it.
cost a lot, like Like, do
I
you think?
agree.
Like, I truly think that that's what they need to do. Like, there's a reason why I still love the '90s TMNT movie, live action movies. I haven't even
Yep.
seen Bay's versions. I don't want to,
Yeah.
but I think that's what movies need to get back to. Like people in animatronics, puppetry, real squibs, and just using CG to clean up stuff and not just have it be
Yeah, I agree with it. Or go all in like Avatar 2, where
yeah,
it's like
that's
um
true.
or Planet of the Apes, for example. Like that's all CG, but it's amazing. It looks incredible, the motion capture.
But do
Or
you think
Gollum,
that
like Gollum, it is all motion capture. That's incredible what they did with Gollum in Lord
do
of the
you
Rings.
but do you think though that that could become or maybe it was just because of that. Like I remember when I was in college back in like 2010, like 2000 between 2006 2010. Um the big movie that was not I guess not I don't know. I'll just say the big movie for story's sake was Beowulf.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah,
legitimately in my college classes cuz I did like computer animation and
yep.
all that stuff. We did talk about Beowulf on how it was the fact that because it was so crisp and clean, our human eyes knew it wasn't real and thus made it look weird.
Yeah, that happened with Polar Express and a bunch of other movies in that
Yeah,
era, that
yeah.
time period.
Do you think technology, especially I guess with Cameron now with Avatar 2, do you think they
Yep.
figured out a way to trick the human eye to make
Yep.
it look?
Yep. Yep.
You
When
think
I
so?
saw Avatar 2, I couldn't tell if it was fake or real, except when I'm looking at blue alien people. Then it's like, oh, this is obviously fake, and their eyes didn't look
I get
accurate.
you. Okay.
But
Hmm.
I'm telling you, dude, the water looked 100% real. Uh,
That's
the
actually
cre-
amazing because
the
water.
whale looked real. The whale. I thought I was looking at a prosthetic whale, but it was
Wow,
fake. It was all fake. It's
that's
wild.
crazy. I'm impressed. Like talking about the water physics. Like I know for a fact, like to this day, people still say the like water physics in games and stuff are still pretty hard to do.
It's hard in games. It's hard.
That's
Yeah.
crazy,
Like
man.
they don't do it very well in games. Um, Horizon Forbidden West had decent water, but it was still like bad. I mean, the water
Yeah.
looks great in some games, like really good. Like I think Skyrim has some of the mods have really good water.
Oh yeah, I just got. I mean, it was a while. Maybe like this last year, I got done playing Skyrim for the first time,
Yep.
and luckily there was mods everywhere, and people are like, just use the mods because I hate crafting. I hate
But
gathering.
oh yeah, yeah, the crafting
That
survival
pisses
stuff.
me off. That's why, and that sucks because that's why I'm replaying all these classic or trying to play all these classic JRPGs because back then I had friends who would play it, and it seemed they would be on the same area for hours. And it's like, "What are you guys
Oh
doing?" It's like, "Oh, we're farming to like get this one weapon that has a 75% drop rate." It's like, "Oh, so it must be a really good weapon once you get it, right?" Well, it'll make the boss fight a little bit easier. I'm like, "Wow, that sounds like a complete waste of time and annoying."
yeah, I mean,
But now I'm trying to get back into it because I'm actually appreciating what it is.
oh yeah. Have you ever played Skyrim in VR?
No, that sounds
It's wild.
in
It's creepy because like you're walking in the middle of the woods and you're just like, well, I am literally in the middle of Skyrim. And then I did the same thing with No Man's Sky in VR, and I'm like flying my plane and I'm leaving the atmosphere, and then I get sick because I did a barrel roll. I got sick. I physically sick. Had to take the thing off, and I almost threw
Mhm.
up.
Oh,
It was
geez.
disgusting, but it was
All right.
fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Because I think I've got some stuff I need to do. And I don't want to keep you lofty if you have other stuff you need to do.
Gotcha. Oh shit! I lost my character for a second.
Oh, that's all
I'm
right.
back.
I've noticed that too.
Yes, it
Um,
happens all the time.
I always think it's funny. Just oh, and all of a sudden it was like
It just goes away.
just goes away or
I'm talking
random
and talking, and then it was just gone
just
off the
gone,
screen.
random clapping, smiling, and
I know it's glitchy.
all that
Whatever.
fun stuff. But yeah, is there anything you wanted to plug or anything before you head out
Yeah.
and where people can follow you? Feel free.
Yep. Lofty Pixels on Twitter, on YouTube. Um, Lofty with an I. And then this week I have I don't like to say things unless it's definitive, but it's either going to be this week or next week. Drunk 3PO is coming on my stream.
Nice.
So if you're a fan of his, sub to my channel and then there'll be a notification.
Yeah, you've been getting some dope guests like Melanie Mack and
Oh yeah.
now
Melanie Mack, Charles,
nice.
Charles Bastard from Twitter. Gonna have Camelot on soon, stuff like that. Drunk
Nice.
is big. Drunk is big too.
No, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to reach out to like a lot of people as well. So,
Yeah, it
that's
helps. It helps if you get in, like if you can get involved in various communities. Like with my editing thing, with editing stuff,
mhm.
I was able to work for different people, and then those people recommended other people, and then I eventually the networking thing kind of worked out. But if you're not doing editing, maybe you can do thumbnails, or maybe you can do websites, or maybe you can do
Yep.
just get in discords, join people's discords, hang out, talk.
Yep,
Um,
that's what I'm noticing
yeah,
too. Networking,
yeah,
networking, and just yeah, just be engaging and as weird as cliche as it is, just be you. Like
yep.
that's something too. Like just
Oh,
be
and
genuine.
another thing is,
Hmm.
um,
Don't be like chaos because
against
this is this is very rude.
Craig is
Wor-
bald, Nick.
Worthy of being condemned to the pits of Tartarus, but I shall let
The
it
ninth
slide.
circle. Yeah, no, another it might go against this advice might go against like your intuitions or whoever's watching, but
Hmm.
don't become get involved in communities and like with fellow whatever you would consider yourself. Like if you're a new streamer, or if you're a small streamer or a medium-sized channel or a big channel, I would do a lot of things within your realm, within your
Hmm.
space, because that's it's important not to think about trying to reach up and climb this ladder, but because it's more important is to spread your, like, I hate using stupid metaphors, but like
Go
spread
ahead.
your tentacles or your wings or whatever, and like um uh n- get to know people within your kind of circle, and then build your platform that way,
Hmm.
and then at some point you can take steps up the ladder. But it's like what I'm doing right now. I'm going on Flaccid Phoenix's streams. I'm having people like Charles come on. Like Melanie Mack, I'm punching above my weight, but I got lucky with her, and you know, and I'm a little bit lucky because I worked for the quartering. So I'm trying to give advice that's not what I did, because not everybody's going to work for the quartering.
No, I get you.
So you know what I mean? But like,
It's still dope
um,
though. Nothing wrong with that.
exactly. But like,
Everyone's journey is different. That's the key thing.
yeah,
Same with voice acting. This is what they'll tell you too. And this is where people kind of get wrapped up in is they get wrapped up in other people's journeys of how they did it. And it could be a possible guide. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's excellent advice, Lofty. Excellent advice too.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Lofty's information, YouTube and Twitter should be in the descriptions below. So check him out, follow him, subscribe. Also, feel free to subscribe and punch the like button up in here.
Bye. That was intentional.
No, yeah, I just like, yeah.
Yep. That's
Oh
all I can
man.
do.
But yeah, we were live on YouTube and Rumble, and I mean my stuff is in the description too, so you can just go down there. But yeah, dude, Lofty, it was awesome talking with you. I know
You too.
I've seen stuff of you having spicy takes and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that.
I'll have a spicy take every now and then, but then people
Mhm.
when they talk to me, it's like, well, actually, he's got a lot of good takes and some spicy takes, but he's not. You know what I mean? Like people don't
Mhm.
know that I have good takes sometimes.
No, I'm open to anything. I'm
Exactly.
open to hear what other people have to say, unless of course it's like something so fucking stupid or something
Oh yeah, yeah. If
like
it's
that.
too,
Then I'm like,
yeah.
whatever. Nighttime. Or you're like, I don't know, you diddle kids or something. Then
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
something that you just need to
yeah.
be destroyed.
Yeah, get away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But again, thanks again, Lofty, for hanging out. Definitely love to talk with you more. And of course, you're always welcome back on the show if you ever
Mhm.
want to chill and hang out.
Sounds good.
That's
Sounds
my
good.
anime face. Just yeah.
Very no
So
eyeballs.
yeah, just
Yep.
the big cheeks. Yeah,
Yep.
we did it. But yeah, again, Lofty is going to be on a podcast this coming Sunday. So
Oh
add
yeah,
his.
Mephisto. Yeah, I'll tweet it out. So follow me on Twitter. I'll tweet it out.
Yep, just gonna say he'll tweet it out. All his stuff is in the description. So till then, you guys have a good night. Take care.
Good night. Later, homies.
Later.